Gettysburg Solitaire. This is a game in the book game system, or book game line, I should say, by Worthington Games. Before playing and reviewing this one, I played Bismarck Solitaire and Waterloo Solitaire. Maybe you watched those videos. This game is very similar in essence to Waterloo Solitaire. Matter of fact, if you watch my videos and you're busy, pretty much my conclusions for this video will be the same one. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. But if you want to hang out with me a little longer, then I can tell you more about Gettysburg Solitaire, which is, again, very similar idea as Waterloo, but with a Gettysburg theme. So similar to Gettysburg, to Waterloo, I mean that we also have two scenarios repeated multiple times, so that you have multiple copies. And you know, I mean, these book games, you're supposed to be writing on the book itself, so it becomes unique, it becomes your log, and so on and so forth. But I don't do that. For Waterloo and for Bismarck, I had made photocopies, and for this one came with a sheet of transparent plastic, so I put it on it, and then I would just write on it with a dry erase marker, and that's how I could keep the game clean. But again, you basically have two battles, so actually instead of a book game, the game could have just been published as two double-sided laminated sheets of paper. One side with the two maps and the other side with the two player aids, because that's what you need to play the game. You have the map here, and then you have the player aid with the actions of the bot of your opponent. So again, with just two of those, you have one battle, you have the other, right, with dry erase marker every time. So, or at least I saw somebody commenting online that this could have been nice. It was like a spiral book, because then it lays down flat. And the way I play it is physically holding the game like this, or sometimes putting a weight there and then doing my thing. So, we got two scenarios, and again, the mechanism, the general idea is really the same as you have in Waterloo Solitaire, which is, well, you're the side who is in trouble. That was Napoleon there, and here's the Confederates, and your units are represented by these rectangles on the map, and the units of the opponent are represented by those other rectangles. The general mechanic is that each turn you will select an action for one of your forces. 3 times per game you can choose a coordinated attack. You can also choose a special action from your leader. The idea is that you cannot choose the same action twice in a row. So instead of just marking the box with an X, you may want to use a number. So for example, if I decide to attack with this group in turn 1, I mark turn 1, and then I write 1 there. As a reminder, the next turn I can put a 2 there. Maybe I'll put a 2 there, and then a 3. Then I'll go back with the 1 and bounce around a little bit. The idea is, again, during your turn you will select an action, committing to it, then you will roll a die determining the actions of the opponent, which usually will be to attack you if a certain group is facing one of your groups which is smaller than theirs, such as attack Heath if Raleigh has more units than Heath, or attack Rhodes if Robinson has more units than Rhodes. In any case, you will apply those effects, which may be, again, an attack. It may be a penalty for you to attack certain areas. It may be canceling Confederate artillery. You select your action, resolve their action, and then resolve yours, which will be done pretty much by rolling a die. Apply modifiers, again, going for those sweet modifiers is super important, and applying hits as indicated here. So the game, again, is super simple. It feels pretty static, with a couple of interesting twists, though, in the fact that by eliminating certain enemy groups will allow you to get access to certain other ones, usually with a positive modifier, with a good modifier for you, meaning that if I routed these people, now these people cannot flank those other people. That sort of thing. There are sort of like trees of decisions that we'll have to do with that, with certain units, again, attack in certain areas, and then try to outflank certain other areas. And this is what you saw earlier was the map for the first the two battles involved that come with this package, and this is the second one, which again has even more, in my opinion, of that like tree quality. If I do this, there will be different situations based on whether I've done certain things prior, and so you'll choose to try to change certain events, but so I can destroy these people, then I can move on to that other group. But it'll be very situational, and it'll be very subjected to a lot of randomness, because again, this game has a lot of randomness. So this is the general idea. You will win by destroying a certain number of enemy units based on the scenario, and you will lose if you take too much damage or if you fail to complete your objective by the end of the 20th turn. So that's the idea. Again, as I said earlier, the game is very similar in essence, in experience, in flow to Waterloo Solitaire. And maybe again, because it's the second time that I saw the system implemented in what appeared to be very, very similar, this game felt a little less exciting to me. Again, between Waterloo and Bismarck, already Waterloo was less interesting. And this one I felt like, okay, I get it. I get the idea. The advantage really is if you are very passionate about the topic and you're like, man, Waterloo wasn't bad, but I wish I could see the same system with the topic. Because again, mechanically, game-wise, the game is just very similar. I didn't catch any major difference that would warrant me, oh man, I need to have this on my collection because the flow, the feel is different. Again, the topic is different, so I don't know, if you want to experience the battle in this format, you're a teacher, you want to show history in a way that is easy for your students to get this way. You give each a copy of the battle, or each group of students a copy of the battle, you project the play rate on a big screen, and then multiple people can play. But at this point, it just felt, again, something I'd seen before. Had I not seen it before, I would have still, I believe, enjoyed the same advantages of Waterloo, which is, well, you can play the battle anywhere you want. It's easy, it's immediate to set up. It takes less than half an hour to play. And for a couple of times, you're trying to discover these little trees, branching trees of decision, how to get to somebody, how to get to the other. In a certain sense, however, again, you feel like more that you're a witness to history than an active participant, again, because the random element is so massive. So, Gettysburg Solitaire, it's an okay game, especially if you haven't played a sister or brother game, Waterloo Solitaire. There is another game in the line, Braveheart Solitaire, that seems to be, again, very similar. And I don't know that I'm going to play this one because I feel like I get it. I get it at this point. I've seen, I believe, what the system has to offer. I feel like I would like at this point more complexity, more variety, more decisions, but wait for it. Turns out there is another game in the system that maybe has all of those elements. So stay tuned for my review of On to Moscow, which I will release soon, which is Book Game 2.0. The general idea here with a lot more going on. But again, for Gettysburg Solitaire, it's not a bad game, but I feel like I played it before, so I feel like this new contact with this design hasn't really given me all that much anymore.